Hey beauty, if you have found this video, it's because it was meant. It's because most likely you've been feeling very disconnected from your softness. You've been feeling disconnected from your femininity, and you've just been feeling disconnected from who you really are at the core. And I'm here to guide you back home to yourself. But before we begin, go ahead and hit the subscribe button because this is only the beginning. I'm getting ready to take you on a journey back home to yourself. So I want you to pause. I want you to relax, and I want you to receive this message. Because today what we're going to talk about is why. Why so many women in the world today are feeling so disconnected from their softness. And one of the biggest reasons is because we were trained to. We were trained to forget about our softness. We were trained to be strong. We were trained to endure. We were trained to literally take care of everybody else except ourselves. We were trained to hold it down, so they say. We were trained to do everything else except be soft, except receive, and except to relax. So let's dive right into it. One of the biggest reasons that we are so disconnected, and I say we as women because, oh my God, it took me so long to attract this information to be able to teach to you. And one of the biggest things that I didn't understand is that we carry so much trauma within our wombs. And what do I mean by wombs? Because sis, I'm not talking about your punani. I'm talking about that lower abdominal area that holds all creation. Your womb is where trauma is stored. And that's one of the things that I just didn't know, that a lot of women didn't know. And this was done purposely. This information was stripped from us for a reason, because our womb is where we hold all the power. So you may be asking yourself, what type of trauma could possibly be stored in my womb? If you've ever experienced sexual trauma, those emotions are stored in your womb. Because unfortunately, at an early age, at age 14, I was sexually abused numerous of times. And because of the sexual abuse, I was given multiple STIs, STDs, diseases that took rounds and rounds of antibiotics for me just to get rid of it. And although I was young and although I believe I healed from it, unfortunately, all the emotions and the trauma that came with that sexual abuse is stored right there in my womb. And it kept me from being tapped into my intuition. It kept me from receiving. It kept me from creating. It kept me from being exactly who God called me to be. It wasn't until I cleared all that energy out that I was finally able to really see me, to hear my own thoughts, to create, to receive, and to get tapped back into my softness. A few other things. Rejection. We've all experienced rejection. Rejection could be from a parent. It could be from a sibling. It could be from your job. Wherever the rejection came from, it doesn't matter. It's the emotions that it left that matters. Because if you don't really release those emotions, they store right there in your womb. Another one is heartbreak. We definitely have all experienced heartbreak. That's another one. We often try to just move on from the heartbreak. We'll go through it and we'll try to hurry up and get into another relationship or just bury it and act like we don't feel it. Not realizing that those very emotions that we're avoiding are getting trapped right there in our womb. Another one is shame, guilt. If you're a woman watching this, in which I'm pretty sure you are, we've all been in spaces to where, we feel we really don't want to have sexual intercourse with that man, but we do it anyway because we feel obligated, even when we don't want to. And unfortunately, what that does is it creates guilt. It creates shame. Every time that you make that decision to have sexual intercourse with someone when you really don't want to, that's shame. And it's being stored right there in your womb. Another one is silent grief. If you've ever lost a loved one and you haven't really dealt with that pain. I know oftentimes we'll lose someone or we'll feel that grief and we'll shut it down. We'll just act like it doesn't exist. We'll act like it doesn't hurt as bad as it really does. We don't really deal with it at the root. So what happens? It gets stored right there in our womb. And lastly, being unsafe around men. And that could be in any type of dynamic. It could be at work around certain coworkers. It could be within your own household. It could be when you were younger in, siblings that you could feel unsafe around that are men, unfortunately, uncles. Any of these things that I just named, if you've experienced any of them, you're more than likely disconnected from your womb, sis. So let's talk about what does it look like to be disconnected in your everyday life? I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I want you to listen to me closely and then answer the question silently. The first question, do you struggle to relax when you're tired? Do you feel guilty when you do relax and when you're tired? And again, I can be a witness that this one was a big one for me. I remember one time dating a guy and he was real goal driven. He was one of those guys that just, he believed in that whole, grind, no sleep. You shouldn't be sleeping if you're broke. You shouldn't be sleeping if you don't have all your goals accomplished. You shouldn't be sleeping if you're not where you want to be. He was that person. So throughout the relationship, I believe that not only the world taught me to feel guilty, but I was with a man that also taught me to feel guilty. And I remember times to where I'd be taking a nap and he would call, and I kid you not, I would hurry up and answer the phone. And I would try to pretend that I wasn't asleep because of guilt, because I was afraid of what he would say, because I was afraid that he would say I'm lazy, like the world. So I developed a lot of guilt around resting, not realizing that rest is exactly how I received. It was exactly where my power lied. So I really want you to think about that question. Do you feel guilty when you rest? And do you ever allow yourself to rest? Or do you, even on your day off, you just fill it up with things to do because of that guilt of resting, because of that shame of resting, because of what the world taught you, that rest is lazy? Next question. Do you feel uncomfortable when you're being soft or when someone's trying to do something really nice for you? Do you feel uncomfortable? Do you hesitate to take things when someone wants to do something nice for you or gift you with something? Do you hesitate? Do you feel that cringe inside, like, If so, then you're definitely disconnected from your softness. Question number 3. Are you always tense? Are you always rushing, thinking? Are you always having to be in control? Because so many of us don't realize that on a day-to-day, our body is in a constant state of rushing. I mean, we could just get off of work, and this was me. I'm always saying these things with so much love. This was me at one point. I would be getting off of work to go home, or it wouldn't even sometimes be getting off of work. I would just, be going home or just trying to get somewhere. And I noticed one day how much I was rushing to do it. And I'm one of those people where I'm always on time. So it wasn't never a matter of, oh my God, I'm getting ready to be late. I need to hurry up and get there. Obviously, situations like that is understandable. But for me, it was rushing no matter what. I could be mopping the floor or sweeping the floor, and I'm like aggressively doing it. Like, it was just it was a really big aha moment for me of like, D, why are you rushing? Calm down. I'm going to give you another example. I remember being with a good friend of mine, and she'll probably watch this video and crack up laughing. But we were out of town. We were in Dallas somewhere, and we were going to this like white party or something. I can't quite remember exactly where we were going, but she ran into a slight issue with a piercing that she had just got. And, we were on our way to the event. I mean, we had left in plenty of time. I mean, we were actually going to be early. Well, she started getting really antsy and just really nervous and just started rushing and like, I got to stop to this piercing place. They're going to close. We're not going to make it in time, and she just really started panicking. And, by this time, I had done enough healing in my journey and tapped into my softness enough to where I peeped it immediately, just the aggression and just the rushing behind it and just the control factor. And, I remember saying to her, girl, calm down. We have plenty of time. We literally have 45 minutes till we get there. The piercing place, they don't close for another 2 hours. We have plenty of time. And it was in that moment that even she realized, wow, okay, why am I rushing? Let me just calm down. And the rest of our evening and the rest of our afternoon was wonderful because it's almost like she just needed to just be brought face to face with that, because we do it on autopilot, girls. Like literally, like again, you could be mopping the floor and you're rushing to do it, not realizing it. So all of these things are things that you're probably doing on autopilot that you just got to pay attention to. Another question. Do you attract emotionally unavailable men? That's a big one. I know I definitely did. I know listen, if you have come to this video, I'm pretty sure you have as well. And this is also from being disconnected from your softness and from your femininity, because we attract exactly what we are. So if we're not tapped into our femininity, to our softness, we're not going to attract a mate that wants us to be tapped into that. You dig me? Last question. Do you feel disconnected from your creativity? Do you feel disconnected from your joy? And this is a big one. I get asked often how I'm so creative. One of the things that I can say, and this is humbly speaking, I've always been a very creative person because yes, I've been disconnected from my femininity for a long time, but we're all disconnected on certain levels. And I wasn't disconnected so much to where I wasn't able to be creative. And it wasn't until I really learned about softness and femininity and the womb and, all the trauma that we store in it. It really wasn't until I really learned about this topic that I really realized, wow, me being creative wasn't me being creative by chance. It was through all of the practices that I do throughout my life that has caused me to be able to still tap into this creativity. So your creativity is directly connected to your womb and to your intuition and to your softness and to your power. Because just think about it. The only way to really be creative is to rest, is to receive. Because everything that you see in the world is started with an idea. And the only way that you can truly get an idea is if you stop long enough to relax and to receive it. And one thing that I've always done is I've always understood the power of stillness and of being still and being quiet and the power of solitude. And the only way that you can get those divine downloads and that creativity is to rest. But again, if you're never resting, if you're never spending any time alone in stillness, you can never get those downloads. If you never clean out your womb and get all those stored traumas and experiences out of there, you'll never truly be able to connect. So you didn't lose yourself, sis. You were just conditioned to forget about yourself. But that's okay, because today you are taking the first step to be guided back home. See, this conversation, this remembering that you just had, It was all a part of the plan. And it's all the energy that I used to birth the divine feminine reset. It was meant to be a sacred ceremony. It was meant to be a space to help women reconnect to their bodies, to their intuition, to their wombs, to their softness, and to their truth. And I'm now offering it to you. And if you're feeling called on a deeper level, make sure you check out my Divine Feminine Reset Bundle. The link is in the description. And it's literally all the tools that I use, not just to get home to myself, but to stay home to myself and to stay grounded every single day. And I would love for you to have it and start this journey with me. So make sure you subscribe. And sis, I love you. Thank you so much for choosing yourself. I'll see you next time.